You are looking for that Ao-Shin, but as we head into game number 3 here, those are some of the big variables. What are the Shimmer Scale items? What's the Mirage?
All right, well, we're getting ready. Here we go. Game number 3 of the Western Last Chance Qualifier. We're going to hop on board with Josue Deleted from Peru and see whether or not he can replicate some of that magic from game number 2.
Yeah, a player that has right now a lot of momentum, a lot of confidence, a player that maybe needed that because this is his first time in the international stage. Now that he knows that he can top 2 a lobby against some of these, some of the best players in the world, at least for this current tournament right now, maybe he has that confidence to try and take it in this game 3.
He starts off with Rod, which is unusual. Deleted really likes to go for that AD-centric composition, so a little bit outside his comfort zone. Also dropped to Silas, so leaning even more towards the AP tree, but we'll see whether or not that comes into play here because some players can easily find their way back into the AD tree.
In Rod, we trust.
For players that aren't Josue, though, Josue wants to go for more of that AD-centric compositions we saw with the Jade Soifin.
Yeah, he definitely has been seeing that, and we got word before this, and Petrus Panda, you were able to provide some of this knowledge here that definitely the AP preference was Psalm coming into this.
Yeah,
very interesting.
For him, very interesting. For Tech Summers as well, for Taji, I think he mentioned as well when I talked to him that the one comp he would try and default to in this tournament was actually Lagoon Psalm, a comp that I think no one has really considered tier 1 when it comes to the last patch. I think it's not a comp that has been as reliable as others. Psalm, of course, is a carry. Broden, I think you know this well. Can be iffy. Sometimes everything works out. You're streaking. Oh, I did say it could be Prismatic Augment. It could be Scope Weapons 3. Do we see a player go this route? Do we see Yone finally find some action?
It's possible. I mean, you look at Mage Crown. You talked about Soam. You can work that into Lagoon. We've seen some Namzi mages. Depends a lot on the setup. Mirage Crown, I think, is the weakest out of all these options, primarily because even if you do get a good Mirage, the Hand of Justice is not exactly what you're looking for. It looks like it is Warlords, though, so if there is one variation of Mirage that wants to go vertical, it is the Warlords.
And it looks like my caster blessing came through.
Boy.
Yone will find some action. Froden has the look, but Lucas will have the board, it looks like, in stages 2 and 3. Because
we take those.
Yone, already 2 of them. This could be a very scary game if he's able to get it all together. I will let you guys know, Solo Gasang in day 3 of the EMEA Finals had this set up, went 7th. So you have to have the right items as well for this Yone.
Oh!
An Assassin Crown start off as well. We haven't seen much of this. What do you like from the Assassin Crown?
Every single time I see the Assassin's Crown, the first thing that jumps to my head is, number 1, can I use Neela to some major effect? And number 2 is, can I use Rengar to some effect? I think the Rengar composition's a lot easier to find because that Assassin Spatula can be taken in 2 different ways. Number 1, it can be that essence that you're looking for in Darkflight. Or number 2, you can just make another unit stronger.
That's right. In Darkflight, the traditional variation, you can actually make Graves the Assassin jump onto those backliners and be able to take out those crucial solo backline characters. Talking about Data, you're even talking about like those Kaisas, because that big amount of damage from the crit amplification is massive. So I'm looking forward to that. Just want to tie in Josue Deleted situation. His itemization is tragic. Tier vest with prismatic scope weapons. We'll see if he can shape that up later.
We talked about one of the key points. You need to have that Rage Blade. You need to have that Giant Slayer later on as well to have that Yone really pop off. Darkflight we saw in the last game from Kurum, a different version, of course, not the traditional Rengar Darkflight. Instead, it was Lilia. Did not work out. We haven't seen Rengar just yet in this tournament, at least the traditional variation. This could be it. Or maybe not traditional, I guess. For Assassins is, you can't always play for it. You have to have this prismatic start with the Assassin emblem.
Yeah, an Assassin Emblem is rarer, but they put more power in the vertical because of how few, or rather, how you don't get many chances at looking at Assassin-based compositions. I'm pretty sure most people don't even know a comp outside of the Darkflight.
I mean, the Assassins got toned down so big in 7.5. It was such a major deal, and honestly, I think that it's kind of a wonderful highlight when you see it. Like, now seeing that Assassin Spatula, it's like, yes, yes! I want to see players jump into the backline and murder those corner cops.
One more key thing, it also allows you to have Nyla as a more viable, you have a bigger reason to play Nyla in your board, and many times you get the Rengar 3, you have too many AD items, you don't know who to play it on. This allows for a more varied spread of items, you have more carries to work with, and overall I think it's going to be a more balanced board if we're able to get there.
So what's it going to be? Is it going to be Assassins with Neela? Is it going to be Graves and Cannoneers? That's the 2 main lines I see for Salvi, but the most important thing, bar none, Salvi needs a top finish. He is 6th and 7th,
yes,
towards that bottom of the standings, needs to have a big game 3. He goes up against Todi, who does have a blue battery 2, and that is a fantastic augment for those Lagoons, except I don't see Lagoons on the board just yet. We'll see if Todi can make his way over there.
It's also an augment that works so well with Aesol later on into the game. We just saw Taji playing the Dragon board. He could try and reach that point as well. We see a whole lot of Ezreals, though. That could be the item carrier, of course. Ezreal 3 in China may be very relevant in the meta. In the West, not so much, but as an item carrier, as a transitional piece in the mid game in stages 2, 3, and 4, definitely viable.
And I think a big highlight there is the blue battery as well. You're not looking for Ezreal to have that natural mana item. Instead, you get to stack a 3rd damage item instead, and that is just a world of difference.
So if you're cheering for Toddy, you want him to get that tier, but it is on a 3-cost Zeri, so it's very tricky to guarantee that. One more pick, and he can get that Archangel Staff onto that Ezreal, which is the most important item when you're stalling.
No way.
Nobody's playing AP. Nobody wants the tier. Can Toddy get it stolen at the last second by Bricks? You can see Toddy, he was banking on it. He said, yes, give it to me, but it was denied.
Bricks is one of our top players right now, most consistent players currently leading the standings. He knows Taji won the last game. He knows he's getting that momentum going. He says, I'm not going to let this guy get a tier, get things rolling with that Ezreal. I'm going to try and contest that a little bit and fight for my own blue buff instead here onto this Kai'Sa.
I feel like for Bricks that really these 2 consistent performances right now comes down to this game. You know, we've seen Bricks able to just absolutely cap out boards, a strong understanding of how that late game's going to work, but so far a strong understanding of just how to stabilize your board and not finish in a bottom position as well. Right now, everything is shaping up for Bricks.
Looking good so far here as he does have a 6v4 against Lucas, still stuck on that pair of Yone. Picked up that bow off the carousel, but he's going to need a lot of help at the end of Krugs. If he's in a situation where he gets a 1-item Krug, that might be doomed for Lucas. You talk about how some players still manage to bot 4 from their spot. This is a recipe for Lucas to still bot 4 if things don't turn around fast.
I think the stage 3 is the most important stage for these Yone players. They need to try and find a Yone 2. They need to try and find that itemization to stabilize, to have gold to roll with. If you lose streak and then you win streak and then you win a game that breaks your streak, you're not going to get anywhere. You're not going to be able to have the gold to get that really get that Yone 3 online. And the biggest thing for Bricks here is that Volibear. If he's able to get the Volibear, if he's able to get that perfect marriage of Lagoon and Shimmer Skill and Dragonmancer, all of a sudden he'll be a very scary player.
And again, we're seeing Bricks on that spot where the big win streak
again
coming into the Krugs. This feels like it's time and time and time again. Players that tend to have these positions tend to finish in top spots. It is no surprise to see Bricks in a spot like this again, but it is kind of a surprise in this style of tournament. Again, these are the top 8 players who just barely missed a spot for that Dragonlance Championship. How is he doing this over and over?
We saw him in day 1 of EMEA. He won 3 games in a row. On day 2, he won 2 games in a row to start things off. He's not someone that I count out in the first games of a tournament. He knows how to come up and show up and have the momentum going into the later stages.
Very fortunate matchmaking, able to queue up against the 2 level 4 players back-to-back, Lucas and Toddy, the 2 Brazilian players. But the difference, Toddy at 86 HP, much better flip for Lucas, as Bricks is the only player streaking. You mentioned it, Admirable. The only player that's really consistently streaking every single game. We see a Deja in the shop.
This is the 3rd game in a row.
He's a Deja magnet. What can I say? It's not the spot to play Deja. He has blue buff slammed, and it's Warlord, so it's a little bit awkward. In fact, this would be a spot if he didn't have that blue buff. If it was just 2 tiers separated.
Yep.
Absolutely go for that Deja. Are we actually still going to go for it regardless? He's getting a stack.
Very important in this PB round. Trying to get those Warlords going right away. 3 Mirage online. The item's going to help with some frontline, but really I think wanted the Kai'Sa item instead.
Yeah, and I get it because it helps get the Lagoon going. I mean, look, he's about to get a Reforger. Oh, he got another duplicate. He can have Deja too right
don't
now.
Do it to us.
Kidding!
Bricks, don't do it to us.
We'll see. I mean, it kind of depends on what his game plan is. He could also wait for the augment as Lucas does hit a Yone 2.
Reforges the blue buff.
Going for it.
Is this the AD Deja that you know
I was
so
just
well?
about to say this.
Hold on. Titans is actually really good. Here goes Deja 2. This Titans is fantastic because he knows other people want to play Rengar in the lobby so he can protect his Deja with stacking armor.
Bricks is doing something else at the start of these games. How can he possibly hit 3 Dejas in 3 different games at stage 2?
All right, this is obviously a very exciting point. Let's take a step back for a second here. High rolling is a way that you win these events, but it's not just that. You have to be able to capitalize on these spots. You can't just throw it away because you're way ahead of the lobby. From this spot, if Brix is going to win, you still have to be making strong key decisions.
Oh, that's 20-minute-old analysis, Admirable. He is doing exactly what he needs to win, which is to capitalize on the fact that he hit early Deja. I wish he put this Titans a little bit earlier. He kind of recognized the need for it. And I know it looks a little bit unusual. People who are not used to seeing Titans on backliners like Xayah and Deja, but the benefit of it is being able to, one, it's a 2-item Deja right now, and 2, it's good defensively against some of the things in the lobby.
I agree with the itemization coming in a little bit late. We saw in games 1 and 2 as well, where Brix was win streaking. You should be able to, you want to defend that win streak, but he many times had 2 or 3 components on the bench, kind of, riding that line perfectly, saying, I don't need to slam this yet. I want to stay flexible, keep my options open until I see the augments, for example. And that's the case here, but in the end, continues the win streak. 6 win streak, 30 gold, bench is full, and he's looking so strong.
The late game specialist here, I think, is the big highlight as well. When you are this strong, the world is your oyster. How could you not find a way to go to 9 from this position is sort of what I'm looking at.
3 players also getting Tiny Titans, by the way. Brix is on pace to be 3rd pick despite 100 streaking. We'll see if that continues as we're going to see victim number 2 of this early Deja. And we switch over POVs and look at Lucas, who has 5 Yones. That's a big jump, but still, looks like his itemization has improved significantly. Being able to make Hand of Justice, has an open sword and a bow, wants to turn that bow into Rage Blade as soon as he can.
Yeah, coming up this carousel is going to be so important. That being said, he's 20 HP under 7th place. I think we're almost guaranteed he will be finding the item priority he needs in this coming carousel. Zippy is trying his best to take out the Yone. It might just quite be enough with the Ezreal and Twitch still alive as well. Yone, scoped weapons, attacking so fast, the healing coming thing, but not quite enough. Ezreal, with these Archangel stacks, able to win the fight. Good loss for Lucas.
Yeah.
Very good loss. Tech Summers in a really comfortable spot, having that Earth's Angel, the Radiant Archangels, and Gunblade. Very strong combination. That's Yone number 6. And so, I mean, Lucas is on pace to hit Yone very early at the beginning of stage 4, just being able to slow roll. But how much damage he's going to take in that process? Can he find a way to mitigate it? His front line is so weak, 1 stars across the board. And he still has to accommodate things like Stand United 1, which is a little bit awkward because sometimes you want to go more vertical with things like Warriors in this composition.
I think the Stand United 1 is a big highlight for that as well, though. The fact that it's Stand United 1, this is more of just like a piece of the team at this point. Really, I think the big one is, as you just mentioned, wants to turn that bow into Rage Blade right away. You're in the first pick of the carousel right now. As soon as that Rage Blade gets online, I think this team absolutely starts accelerating.
Early itis for Taji, a player that we saw leapfrog with his econ in the last game, is trying to maybe do the same here. We're seeing a few AP items already built. Ezreal perfectly holding that Gambler's Blade in this game now as well. And overall, still a fairly strong board for Taji. Will it be strong enough to take down the Yone brothers? I don't think so. Too much damage coming through. The healing as well, keeping that right side Yone in tip-top shape. And the Rage Blade now in the carousel is what we're looking for Lucas. Well, it's right in front of him. He can't miss it.
He can't miss it.
Unless?
Well, I don't think the leader even wants it. Going for the Graves with the cloak. We'll check in with Josue if maybe he's leaning into that Seraphine Graves, which is completely missing in game number 2. But we take a look at who is streaking. It's Brix. The rest of the lobby is on notice. What can people do about this Deja that's getting stronger because that Warlord stack is almost done?
Hey, I'm not going to be kidding you. When I'm looking at this right now and I see Brix's board, I'm going, okay, 2nd is my spot right now. There is absolutely no way that I'm playing for 1st in this position unless you just absolutely have to get that cranking right now. 2nd place is definitely my target.
Oh, so it is going to be the Ezreal 3. 1 away now. Finds it.
Nice.
Finds the Leona 2 as well. Can go 6. Put in the Leona. Get the Guardian. 3 in, not 4 just yet. But overall, going to be a very strong mid-game.
So there's a couple of trains of thought specifically about this. One, a lot of people believe that re-rolling Ezreal Guardians without itis is actually superior because you're able to get more Guardians earlier, like the 4 Guardian synergy. The second thing is that Tori did level to 7, so he's not going to be able to collect any other 3 stars. So what his primary game plan from here, what I'm reading, is that going to ride this Ezreal to the fast 9, try to transition to a dragon, and utilize things like Aurelion Soul or another option if he needs to in order to win this game.
And that's a Gambler's Blade activation right there, right? You have this extra gold that's going to be rolling. You're now going to start building a win streak off of this loss streak. It pressures the other players. You maybe have just enough to get there. That Tiny Titans being a big highlight as well. When I'm looking at the other side of this, on Josue deleted side, when I see that wise spending, your game plan's pretty clear in mind. It's just continue to stabilize your board as you level up in this spot. So I think it's still a lot of tight contention for these mid spots.
Biggest indicator here of will we be seeing dragons in the late game is the fact that players are able to get Shimmer skill online, able to get that gold from the Gambler's Blade. We saw Lucas with the late game specialist definitely going to try and go for 9 if he doesn't want to be an augment down going into that late game. So overall, we're going to see a lot of high cap boards, very greedy players. But that can be punished by things like Lucas with the Yone reroll. Might get some big wins once he gets that 3-star.
So right now, 2 players I'm looking at to join us in top 4 right now, Brix and Toddy. Can anybody else show us a strong board? That's a 1-star Rengar. That was 2-star. That Ezreal's in trouble. But the nice clump to try and protect Ezreal for as long as you can. The taunt from the Rakan going to stall just long enough. Ooh. And as we mentioned, just a 1-star Rengar, not good enough. It doesn't seem like Salvi has tempo on his side, despite playing a high tempo augment.
And despite taking Tiny Titans as well, look at his HP. He was trying to get away from that bot 4 HP position in stage 3, but he's right back at there again. 70 HP for Salvi.
That's a tough spot to be in. I mean, we've typically seen Salvi play from behind, play these lose streak compositions, and then try to rubber band it back to one of those top spots. But today, so far, it hasn't been the day. And we're going into game number 3. If you hit the halfway point with 3 bottom 4 finishes, that is not the feeling you're looking for.
Brix did lose a streak. Pressed event. POK, the only player that's currently on a streak, as we check in with him and see what's happening. And it looks like he has a very strong Jade setup. And also has some of the strongest augment, like he has, for example, Celestial Blessing 3, which many consider to be one of the most powerful augments for this composition.
Items, too.
Very versatile as well. You can go into Dragon, you can stay on this Jade Whispers board if that's the route Preston wants to take, and just try and fight for that top board, trying to, again, get that nice momentum going. Not a great game in game 2, but trying to find Shio Yu, and he does.
It's very nice. Now, the finesse of this composition is how much to roll at 7 and when to stop to try to greed to 8. You want to go to 8 because it's so expensive. There's so many tier 4 units, Pantheon, Siphon, Jay, Shioyu, and not to mention you want Soraka and Bard sometimes. It's just really pricey. So you want to go to 8, but at the same time, a lot of the units that you want a 2-star can theoretically be hit on 7, and you don't want to be too weak. So this is the entirety of Preston game plan. If you can win these next 2, maybe 3 rounds, he's in an excellent spot to finish top 4.
That being said, he's up against Brix. He lost his streak, but he's still very, very strong. Titans Resolve on this Deja. Giant Slayer, the Gambler's Blade as well. The Wind Blast hitting the entirety of the board on the side of Prestivant. The Rage Blade is stacking. The Graves is known to be a 1v9 carry, but I think he cannot quite do it here. The Idas is still alive, and the Wind Blast is just too much to handle. Prestivant takes a hit.
Just narrowly not being able to kill Idas. That's -4 HP for Prestivant. It actually begs the question, who actually beat Brix?
This one I'm looking at right now, and I'm seeing Lucas hitting the win streak now at this point as we head into 4-2 with that 3rd augment coming into place. It's a gold augment, so still very powerful upgrades that are here to be made, and this is where we start to see everyone really piece things together. We saw a lot of gold get moved around, and a tome being taken here. Is this leaning towards the Jade idea?
You're going to have to tailor this board to try and get the best odds at hitting what you want.
Oh my goodness.
But what you want is there.
Wait.
Jade and Mystic.
And
2
Mystic.
possibilities, especially for a lobby that we might be seeing a lot of Fast 9, a lot of AP. Mystic has that extra value. Scouting probably happening right now as Preston decides which of the 2 might be better in the meta.
Yeah, just a little bit of better. A little bit of that Texas feel to it.
Kaisa 3
for Josue.
I like the Jade pick because it gets him 5 Jade immediately, and he can continue to scale up to 7 Jade, which is a very nice way if he can play to his win condition. Taking a look at Josue deleted with that Kaisa 3 has basically pushed levels all the way to 8, except he didn't.
So why spending?
Pre-leveled.
Oh, you're right. No, because of why spending. He's been spending his gold. Polys were catching up with the POV. So this is how much gold he's rolled. He almost got to 8 just purely pressing that D key.
Makes sense. I mean, Kaisa 3, you have the fruits of your labor coming in. The Graves, again, trying to do it for Preston, but again, not quite enough. The Kaisa, or is it? Did I speak too soon? No, I didn't. The Kaisa battle against the Karma, but still, Josue comes out on top, trying to stabilize just a little bit under that 50 HP mark.
Good loss.
Well, he doesn't get much gold, at least value off of the gold from the Gambler's Blade, but able to still farm a couple of pieces. That's really key here for Host Waves. He's trying to stabilize. The lack of Kaisa items as well has been quite tricky.
I mean, this is looking pretty tough across the board. Brick's going to go with some tempo options here on the Sunfire, get a little bit of that anti-healing in. I'm looking at Toddy's side of the board here with this first aid kit and how much this could influence what's going on in this spot. Because when you have a Hextech Gunblade on your main damage unit, first aid kit is a big difference for how your front line holds up.
Yeah, not to mention that the primary reason why first aid kit is so strong in that setup is the Guardians. Your shielding is that much more effective. And so we'll see whether or not that's good enough to break through Bricks, who's almost done stacking that Determined Investor. I believe it was 5. Gold being printed on both sides. Everyone's back on AP carry. Who's going to win? Is it the Deja, which does get taunted and disarmed by the Rakan? Can the Mystic Shot cut through the front line fast enough to be able to get to the Deja? The Wind Blast does clip a lot of the backline units. And it doesn't look like Ezreal's able to get it because there's not enough crit damage being done. Deja doesn't have any healing, though, and Ezreal 3 able to get the job done. Toddy is coming back for that level 9.
Whoever hit the Itis first, whoever got that 5 Shimmer skill online with the second Shimmer skill item being Determined Investor, if you get that early in stage 3, fantastic. If you get it a little bit too late, it's not going to be as good. You might take too long to actually hit that board strength.
It's looking pretty tough for Kurum right now as well. Liquid Kurum X sitting at 30 HP at level 8, has a spatula on the bench right now. Typically, I'd say doesn't fit what Kurum is playing for.
Yeah, and we'll see whether or not that can pick up for Kurum. Another really interesting decision on Carousel, as Panda just pointed out to me, was there's a Yone with a sword, and Lucas had an opportunity to go for it. If he doesn't have Yone 3, I mean, the comp can use almost infinite swords. You can have sword items on Yone, you can play for Zeke, you can put items onto Olaf as a secondary carry. I'm really curious about what his spot is.
Look at Kurum, though. He's back where he feels most comfortable. Tried out Lilia in game 2, did not work out. He says, all right, I'm going back to the Graves Seraphine comp. Graves is online. The Zeres were good to go. The priority in this comp is, of course, the Zeeks over anything else. Then you look at Graves items, or maybe the Vow as well. You have it all built. This is, textbook Graves Seraphine here for Kurum.
Nice.
What he hasn't found is those extra Graves just yet.
Not yet, but he did hit Seraphine 2, which is nice because his comp was looking like it was lacking substance, a lot of the right pieces. And now we see why there was no Yone with sword picked up, because that is a Yone 3 with the Rage Blade. And we do see that whether or not Lucas can get this win will continue to piece his streak together, because that is a very scary scope weapons Yone on the other side.
The Rakan just holding down the fort against that Graves. Nothing even touching the Yone and the Olaf in the other corner.
But the Grasping Vines from Zyra are going to keep it down, and there's still 4 units. Yone has to go 1 unit at a time. That's a weakness. The chain stuns coming in, and I just don't think there's enough from the Yone here. Kurmax with the crucial victory at stage 4-5.
The one thing missing there is the Giant Slayer on that Yone. There's a sword on the bench, missing a bow. Could come in with the Treasure Dragon coming up very, very soon. But Kurmax found what he needed, a win to stabilize, because he was in a dicey position, especially when you don't have that carry already. You don't feel as strong, as protected, as stable, really.
Yeah, speaking of stability, Salvi just slowly but surely dipping further and further as he hits Swain 2. Prestivan also has hit Shioyu 2, so a lot of people tagging the Dragons they needed as we check in what's happening. Nathan, you called it. You talk about the versatility of having this emblem early. Does end up moving towards the back. You want the other units with Dark Essence to die first before you're able to get to the Swain. We'll see if that's enough.
The clumping occurs, though, on that Ezreal, trying to keep the main damage carry protected from what is the counter comp, what is the Rengar. And there's the kill coming through. Ezreal deleted off of the board, but Salvi has kind of hit his peak for now, has rolled down all of his gold. Should be stable for a few more fights, but once he starts fighting those stronger players in stage 5, he might bleed out.
The only difficulty is that he needed to get this at 4-1. You see him rack those 3 losses to begin stage 4. The spike of this Darkflight comp is being able to jump those carries as people are getting ready for their 4-2 augment, their stage 4 roll down.
Radiance on the Dragon as well.
It's also a Bramble Vest.
Power spikes.
Good. Do you just take this? This actually looks reasonable. You could theoretically put both these items onto Swain. You already have items for both of your Rengars. What else do you really want?
This could be the pickup. I think this might be it, especially for Salvi. It doesn't have much gold to work with. Needs to find Rengar 3 as well, which means if you roll for your better items, you might not hit anything. We saw it happen with Kurum X in the NA Regionals. In this case, takes what he can get and going to have to hope he finds a Rengar 3. Naturally, there was just a few rolls in this stage 5.
Another thing that caught my eye was it seems like Salvi is sacking this this Sejuani, does he want to eventually potentially find a way to tech in 4 assassins if he can find a way to get to 8, right? He plays a Kiana, for example, in there. In this case, he's sacrificing the Twitch.
Interesting.
Really good call, actually, because I don't know if he's lacking defensiveness. I feel like he lacks a little bit of damage, and that's where the attack speed can come in huge.
Especially with the items on the Swain now, Nathan. You have now the chance to have this, this hyper tank where you don't really need that extra Cavalier.
I like
also,
that.
just highlighting the damage fact, you know, that he was able to just obliterate that Ezreal in the back line. You're now making that damage in the back line even more dangerous.
I mean, speaking of dangerous, Precedent guesses Zephyr onto the primary damage. Rengar is going to be that much slower. The Rampage was the first Rengar, and the Rengar is going to drop, and this is a bad matchup already. This is exactly what Jay Soifan's matchup wants to be, because the time that you give is exactly what Siphon needs.
Too much damage coming to this Swain. The 3-way attack from Siphon, from Shioyu as well. But Swain has the Titan's Vow stacked, has the Bramble against the IE, but not quite enough. Salvi takes a hit, holds the Graves, trying to, not allow Krim to maybe hit that Graves too. But in the end, he needs the goal to find Rengar 3. And as you mentioned, if he finds Rengar 3, then we might see the 4 assassin board built up when you only have 1 Rengar on the board.
He has Kiana, but it's, yeah, you're right, he's just too poor. I think Salvi just wishes he was level 8. He could tech in both the Kiana and a potential another assassin. Wow. But alas, can't find it. Let's hop on board with Jose Deleted, who has since put a streak together, hitting Zac 3, Jax 3, and Kaisa 3, and is looking good so far.
Working on the Volibear 3 as well. And again, you just get to keep that leveling going while continuing to improve your board. This is inherently the strength of wise spending, is when you have a clear direction and you have a healthy amount of gold. That's how you win with this augment.
He's up against Lucas, who has stabilized at 40 HP, has the Yone 3, has the Runon's Tempest as the 3rd item on this Yone instead of any kind of Giant Slayer or Demon Slayer. And can this Yone do it? The one downside to this Froden is the fact that he's a single unit damage carry. He can only damage 1 unit at a time, and when he's not able to do it fast enough, this is what happens. He gets 1v4, 1v5. The healing comes in. The Rage Blade is stacking, but is it going to be enough? I don't think so. Lucas takes a hit.
His frontline also doesn't look that imposing as well. Normally there's like the triple stacked Braum that's unkillable. I see that lacking on Lucas's board. Javi aboard Kuramex. Oh my goodness. Already almost dead at 5 HP to go first and 8th would be devastating and almost outright eliminate him.
When you rely on solely this is your composition, inherently the big point is going to be Graves too. We saw him with an early Graves, we didn't see him with a pair, and we saw him with very little gold. When you can't hit the Graves too, it's going to be really tough to stabilize because this is a power-stacked lobby right now.
In contrast to his previous augments where he had really strong things like uplink and preparation, this is just okay, not great. And you need great when you're going up against players who have stacked boards like this. That's an all 2-star board in terms of the Dragon and power units from Precedent, and that's exactly what he's looking for. We'll see whether or not the Graves can be able to survive the damage, confronting both Shioyu and Pantheon, taking the Aegis Soap, and now Graves is about to potentially go down, does end up dying, and that should do it. A North American Civil War. Precedent eliminates Kuramex.
The backhand from Shioyu does it. How can he slap? Gets the kill on Kurum. Kurum taken down 2 8th places in a row. That's not a good spot to be in a one-day tournament where there's only 2 spots for the Dragonlance Championship.
Salvi getting pressured as well. You know, with 2 bottom 4 finishes so far for Salvi, a 3rd one would also be a very heavy hit on this one. There is a lot of items here, I think, that have an immense amount of power.
Some spicy amount of emblems too. Guild Emblem is generically pretty good. That also frees up Salvi to make that Assassin Emblem onto another carry that he would like to add damage to. And then you add things like, can this Evoker be good for AP comps? All these damage items like Hodge, Infinity Edge. This is a good carousel. I don't think anyone low rolled.
Switch out Emblem for Lucas as well, Nathan. That's something that allows him to get some extra attack speed on that.
That's huge.
I mean, it's hard for him to go below roll on this one. I mean, just my God, everything was good. Just hand me a random one at that point.
You have the remover.
I'll just stay in place and go get a glass of water real quick.
Yeah, and as a result, gets to put that Switch of Emblem onto the Yone, but he already has Prismatic Scope weapons, which is already on the more interesting side. So what is the benefit here?
I think Hand of Justice, not that effective on a unit that doesn't have to move, can stay very protected. I think the healing is not really as good as it would be on a normal unit that actually gets into the melee range with something like a Shio-Yu, for example. So I think it's actually a good pickup here. You get that extra damage carry on the Olaf instead, who can also utilize scope weapons perfectly. But this could be a big fight against a level 9 board. The Zephyr does not hit, though.
Good juke, was showing left, moved right, but is clumped up for the Black Hole. Black Hole number 1 able to take a little bit out from that back line, but the follow-up Tempered Fate locks down that Yone, but at the same time, the front line's about to crumble. So what's going to happen first? Will we get through the Guardians from Lucas, or are we going to deal damage to Toddy? Toddy goes down to 1 life. Salvi literally at 1 HP. This lobby is heating up.
All these civil wars. I mean, we saw NA versus NA. Now it's Brazil versus Brazil, almost knocking out Todgy in the process, who looked so strong at the start of the game, but now is in a dangerous 6th place position.
I really want to point out just how good of a matchup that was for Lucas in this spot, too. You were facing someone who went fast 9. They're looking for the Dragons, taking that big risk.
Oh,
and you hit them like when they're just all in those 1-star positions. Perfect timing for Lucas there.
So Kiana has arrived. It's 4 Assassin. We're playing Assassin Aphelios. Look, desperate times calls for desperate measures. All hands on deck. Can Salvi find a way to claw his way back for any additional point? He's going up against Brix, who has one of the counters to this matchup.
I just can't believe what's been run into right now. These Rengars have to get the job done, but getting stunned by the Bard in that stasis, now onto a main damage source right now, but not able to tag it, and there is no way a Swain lives through a rain that powerful.
EMEA versus EMEA. We're just missing the LATAM matchup. We're checking with Toddy versus Prestivan whether or not he can take out this Siphon, which is about to Rampage Bite. It takes out the Aurelian Soul in 1 shot and may have eliminated Toddy for this game. It does! Toddy finishes 6th.
That's 3 players out, and the curse continues. Whoever wins the last game takes a pretty bad result in the next. Todgy gets a 6 here. The 2 players that I think are in big trouble, Kurum and Salvi, the 2 favorites may be going in from 2 of the strongest regions, NA and EMEA, not performing to the highest level. Someone that will perform at the highest level is going to be Lucas, picking up yet another Zeke.
Could you pick a better item here?
Not really. I do feel like his frontline, again, is really lacking. A lot of times, what you play with this composition is anchored by Braum 3. I don't even see a Braum on his board.
Hey, you know what? The best defense is just a great offense. If you kill all your opponent's units, there's no damage left being dealt.
Yeah, but you know what's also the best defense? The best defense, which is actually kind of what this meta is about. It's about stalling for as much as you can for your backline carries to ramp.
Players who were able to figure that out in the regionals, we saw in Kivik with the Guardian boards, had great success. You're saying it, Froden. Guardians is so important. In this case, more of a warrior comp, more of an offensive-defensive mix. Will it be enough? It doesn't look like it's the case for Lucas, currently at 6 HP, a little bit out of that top 4. Tech Summers hit a Shio-Yu 2 earlier on, is currently on a win streak. That being said, just a 1 win streak there, and sitting at 23 HP, so a big gap between Lucas and the rest. Brix at 69 HP.
Seeing the gold get spent, too. It's like the player, they're not being too aggressive with the gold count here, but when you see them stop, it's actually kind of a very scary thought from a Dragon's board perspective.
Shroud not really that effective against his comp in general because Yone doesn't really need mana. Starting to work. Onto the Shio-Yu. The Black Hole targets the back line, which is not actually what you really care about. You want to crack through the front to be able to pressure the back line, reduce that attack speed from the Swift Shot. And Yone has cracked through the Shio-Yu, now working onto the Itis. And I don't think Aurelius has noticed, trying to go for the whole board. But the Brink of Dawn, able to get the double reset, but not in time. Tex takes critical damage. Lucas is charging for the top 4.
And maybe you were right, Nathan. The best defense is a very good offense, and that is what we have here. Just barely able to squeeze out the win. No healing there on the Yone, so once he took that hit, he was so close to death, but still managed to do it. And Josue, he's looking strong. 26 HP, so many 3-stars here.
Oh, he's blinging out. He's got 3-star Kaisa, 3-star Jax with incredible Thieves Gloves item, 3-star Volibear with incredible Thieves Gloves items, Zac 3 and Karma 3 fully stacked.
Oh boy.
What is going on? Going up against another 3-star composition, or rather this is Lucas's fight up against Brix. Brix has an opportunity to send Lucas down in bot 4.
He has to kill off this Yasuo quick before it can stall out for Deja, and it does. All of a sudden now the Yone almost onto the Deja. Now it is the Lightning Rain comes in, but it's enough. The Yones die. Lucas does as well. -12 for the Brazilian player. Tex Summers sitting where he likes to be. 4th place in games 1 and 2.
Wow.
4th place right now, but still alive. That's the big difference right now in this stage 6.
Consistency might be the name of the game here, Tex, with another top 4. That's fantastic. Precedent top 2 in scores is going to, looks like barely live here at 7 HP. So Preston, another top 4, very good. But Bricks is the player of this game to watch ever since he got that double duplicator Deja on 3-1. He's been running away with the lobby. Who can fight with him for that 2nd place?
I mean, he's still at 66 gold in this spot as well, so you're still cranking to continue to build this board up. A Deja 2 on your bench as well with 66 gold while you're still continuing to crank. And you also have arguably one of the most powerful and scary final game compositions that you can have, and they're stacked to the brim on items.
I'm not surprised he's doing so well. Bricks is, after all, a late game specialist, but Tex also likes going fast 9, likes going for these capped out boards, likes the ASL. And in this case, we'll see if this massively clumped board on the side of Prestivan will be able to survive. The Siphon rampages the wrong way, does not kill the ASL. The Black Hole still going on, but all of a sudden, Pantheon has sneaked into the back. So has the Siphon. Hits the wrong target again. The Black Hole seems to not be doing enough. Shield you down. Siphon now only has 1 target to hit. Never mind. Never mind. Did I curse it? Oh no, Siphon, you need to get the right target. The Black Hole comes through just in time. The Siphon gets the kill. Tex Summers down to 1 HP.
That might be a crucial win for Prestivan. It's an all-dragon carousel. I see a Deja. I'm not sure if that's exactly what people are going to leave up because it does have a ZZ Rot portal.
Bricks is ready to go.
Another edge and
He's going for it. And that's huge because you need that ZZ Rot to stall as long as you can for that Aurelion Soul.
A lot of dragons, but not a lot of good items, honestly.
Even if you don't need the ZZ Rot, just to contest on Bricks. You don't want Bricks to get a Deja 3 and win out this lobby.
Exactly, exactly. There is a chance that some of these dragon boards can cap out even higher. But I mean, just look at how rich Bricks is. He doesn't even necessarily need all this gold. Yes, it's good for the Gambler's Blade, but look at his sources of damage. He has a 2-star Aoshin, also has a 2-star Yasuo. We start to see more 3-stars. 3-star Lee Sin. Is there anything not 3-star on that guy's board?
Hussa heard you were flaming him for not capping on his board. Now he's going to get every single unit 3-star coming into this game 3.
I have no words. Fantastic job. That's exactly what you need to do in order to win this game, but that's not the person that he's going up against. It's Bricks versus Prestivan, and Prestivan needs to mitigate the amount of damage. Even if he doesn't win this, he wants to take the least amount of HP loss. To start with the Zephyr onto the Deja. The Temper Fate locks down his entire board. Can Siphon get to the back line? So far not being targeted by the Lightning Rain, and here comes the Siphon. No Rampage in time, and that's going to do it for Prestivan. How much damage does he take? -13. Can Tex Summers find a way to lose by fewer or even win?
Yes, he loses by only. Never mind. Back to 4th place position. Game 1, 4th place. Game 2, 4th place. Game 3, 4th place. If he stays 4th the entire tournament, I'm not sure he makes it in the top 2 spots. He has to try and win some games as well, maybe.
But he's in a good spot to put himself in a position to succeed. As we take a look at the final 2, and this should be all but done and dust in terms of final result. I don't see a world where a Deja 3 would lose, but can we find a way? Is there a miracle, perhaps, Nathan? We can see Josue deleted, bring this back.
I think some of this is going to boil down to a Lee Sin and how this kicks this these frontline units out of the way. Your board is very strong, but inherently you're going up against one of the strongest teams that can be built.
That being said, Josue has shown a lack of micro in the sense that he's missing the shrouds. His Lee Sin was not targeting the Itis, for example, instead going for the Rakan. And here comes the Lightning Rain, shutting down a lot of the units. Kaisa is down. Is that going to be it with 5 units effectively up? Ooh. That is it. Bricks gonna start pulling away from the competition with the round 3 victory.
And Brick said it, EMEA Finals, he was nervous, he was under pressure, he was playing as a stacked lobby. He told me this would not be the case today, and he's proven that until now.